Morning. I've been talking about the 8 awarenesses of the enlightened person, and last week I talked about having few desires. Today I'm going to talk about how to be satisfied. And in his commentary on knowing how to be satisfied, Dogen Zenji said, knowing how much to take of those things that one already has is called knowing how to be satisfied. Knowing how much to take of those things that one already has is knowing how to be satisfied. And the Buddha had a more elaborate comment on this. He said, you should contemplate knowing how to be satisfied if you wish to be liberated from suffering. The Dharma of knowing how to be satisfied is the realm of riches, comfort, peace, and tranquility. Those who know how to be satisfied are happy and comfortable even when sleeping on the ground. Those who do not know how to be satisfied are not satisfied even when dwelling in a heavenly palace. Those who do not know how to be satisfied are poor, even though they are wealthy, while those who know how to be satisfied are wealthy, even though they have little. Those who do not know how to be satisfied and are always tempted by the 5 desires are consoled by those who know how to be satisfied. This is called knowing how to be satisfied. So knowing how to be satisfied is complementary to having few desires. So not craving after things that you don't have is having few desires. Knowing how to be satisfied is appreciating what you do have. Okay? So if you're looking for something that isn't already present, we won't know how to be satisfied. All we have to do is open ourselves up to those things that we already have. And even then, you need to know how much to take of those things that one already has. So, what is lacking, is the question. What is lacking right now? So, the Buddha said that without exception, everybody has the wisdom and virtue of the Buddha. So where you're sitting right now, you are the awakened one. The problem is we don't realize it. And the real reason we don't realize it is because we have many desires and we don't know how to be satisfied. We're looking outside ourselves. So we have to turn the light around and look inside and reveal ourselves as the awakened one. So last time I talked about these 5 desires that the Buddha mentioned. And the major desires, the desire for wealth and the desire for material things, which includes a desire for sex, since this is a desire for form, and then a desire for food, desire for fame, and a desire for sleep. But usually we can't distinguish between our ideas about reality and reality itself. We have a thought that we want something. And having that thought, we think it's reality. Then we chase it. It can be a material object or a relationship or another thought or something else. We chase it until we become obsessed with it. We think we don't like somebody, and then we take that to be reality. We let that possess us until eventually we're filled with anger and hatred. There are even more subtle levels where we get stuck with our thoughts. What we think to be reality is just our thoughts about reality. And what we think we need in order to be satisfied is often just more thoughts and ideas. There's nothing wrong with ideas and thoughts, but just see them for what they are. They're part of the scenery of our life. They arise and they pass away. It's like looking out the window of a train and noticing, here comes another thought. And then another thought as we continue traversing through the landscape. One of my heroes, Albert Einstein, talked about physics in a way that relates to this very nicely. He said, as far as the laws of physics refer to reality, they're uncertain. And as far as they're certain, they do not refer to reality. So as far as your thoughts refer to reality, they're uncertain. And as far as you are fixed on your thoughts, they do not refer to reality. We can apply it to the self too. As far as my ideas of who I am refer to reality, they're uncertain. And as far as they're certain, they don't refer to reality. Maintaining no fixed position. How do you refer to reality? Yeah, there's a famous story about the sixth patriarch in China when he was an illiterate wood gatherer and he was selling wood in the marketplace, and he heard an itinerant monk chanting the Diamond Sutra, and there's a line in the Diamond Sutra that says, dwelling in no place, raise the mind that liberates all beings. He said, raise the Bodhi mind. That's the Bodhi mind, is the mind that liberates all beings. So dwelling in no place, where is that no place? And how can we dwell in no fixed place? On one occasion, a man who practiced Zen asked Master Huihe, it's said that the mind is identical with the Buddha, but which of these is really the Buddha? They say, my mind is jumping all over the place like a monkey in the trees. So which is really the Buddha? And the master answered, what do you suppose is not the Buddha? Show it to me. And of course, the student couldn't answer. This very place where we sit is the lotus land. Dogen Zenji said, if you think one day lacks sufficient virtue, then even a life of 80 years is not enough for you. Each moment is a perfect, wonderful opportunity to practice Zen, to practice reality, to practice knowing how to be satisfied. Each place, each moment is nirvana. However, we can make it to be hell instead. Master Mumon said in his precautions on Zen, each moment knowing how to be satisfied, create no separation when you're doing zazen, do zazen. And I might add, if you're working, just work. Don't think it should be something else. Also, don't fall into no matter Zen with an attitude that everything's the same. We have to see each moment for what it is. Once a young monk called Kyosho came to Zen Master Gensha to study under him, and Kyosho said, "I've come here seeking the truth. Where can I start to get into Zen?" At this, Gensha the master said, "Kyosho, can you hear the murmuring of the mountain stream?" "Yes, master, I can hear it." "Enter Zen from there," was the master's answer. Sometime later, a lay Zen student, Kyo, told the story to Master Ein of Singon and asked, because Kyosho answered he could hear the murmuring of the mountain stream when Gensha asked him if he could hear it, Gensha could instruct him to enter Zen from there. If, however, Kyosho had said he could not hear it, how could Master Gensha have instructed him? Ein suddenly called out, "Mr. Kyo!" And Kyo answered, "Yes, master." At this, the master said, "Enter Zen from there." That's the secret of our Zen practice. Wherever you are, enter Zen from there. Doesn't matter whether you're encouraged or discouraged, or feel as though your meditation is excellent, or whether you feel it's horrible. Whether you're happy, or you're sad, or you're angry, you're blissful, it doesn't matter. Enter Zen from there. That's the reality. That's what's so. That's how to be satisfied. We all have different capacities. At meals, some people take larger servings than others. Some people take more than they need. Knowing how much to take of those things that one already has is called knowing how to be satisfied. But if we look at it from the other direction, I'm reminded of what Roshi Gerry said. He was referring to our capacity as the ingredients of our life. He said to take the ingredients of your life and make the best meal possible and then give it to others. See, and then not what you should take, but what you can give away. That's one way to be satisfied. Master Dogen said to study Zen is to study the self. And the more we study the self, the more we'll understand the self. And the more we understand ourselves, the more we can be satisfied. And Zazen is a perfect vehicle to study the self. So we confine ourselves to a 3 foot by 3 foot zabuton cushion. We sit still and try to quiet the mind. There's no distractions other than the chatter in our head. If we're able to maintain non-judgmental awareness, we'll notice where we're clinging, where we're stuck, what we are ignoring, what we are grasping, what we are projecting, and so forth. If we do not judge these things, but just consider them to be the scenery of our mind, we begin to see how we behave in the world and what assumptions we have that determine how we behave. So the more we see, the easier it is to release our grip. I love the story of how they catch monkeys in India. They take a coconut and cut a hole in it, such that a monkey can put its hand in, but if it makes a fist, then it can't pull it back out. So they put a bait into the hollow coconut with a hole. The bait could be food or even something shiny or bright. And then they attach the coconut to a tree. And when the monkey comes and grabs the bait, it can't release its hand unless it releases the bait. Then it can pull out its hand, but then it doesn't have the bait anymore. And then it might stick its hand back in and grab it and get stuck again. But somehow, this trap is very effective. The monkey would rather hold on to the bait than to save its own life, which, of course, it doesn't have that kind of conceptual thinking. But we do. But we're not so different, are we? We hold on to all kinds of things at the risk of our life. Well, what are they that we hold on to? So that's a question. At this moment, what are you holding on to that prevents you from being satisfied?